Good day, I'm Carrie-Ann Smith and this is your JIS News for Friday, April 8. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says his administration is focused on restructuring government bureaucracy to allow for quick decision-making. This, he says, is among government's priorities for its first 100 days in office. In an interview with the British Broadcasting Corporation at Jamaica House on Thursday, Mr. Holness said the bureaucratic reform would send a good signal to local and international investors. The Prime Minister said his government would also be focused on fulfilling commitments made, the preservation of human rights, debt reduction, leveraging brand Jamaica for growth, and increasing investment markets in the first 100 days. Mr. Holness also responded to questions about Jamaica's relationship with the Commonwealth, reparations, and the country's gains since independence. Prime Minister Holness's interview with the BBC will be aired on April 21, Queen Elizabeth II's 90th birthday. The state-owned Jamaica Promotions Corporation, JAMPRO, has refuted claims that it was involved in an alleged $10 million Ponzi scheme that generates profits from bridge loans to businesses in Jamaica.
Allegations that JAMPRO has any direct involvement in fraudulent investment, Ponzi, or bridge loan schemes are totally unfounded, detrimental to our good reputation, and must be retracted.
The allegation was contained in an article by the Texas-based media entity Caribbean News Now. In a press briefing yesterday, JAMPRO's president said the agency had written to the publication's editor advising him to retract and take down the article.
That's the first step. We will be proceeding to other steps if he does not comply.
Ms. Edwards maintains that JAMPRO facilitates investors and investment projects it believes can add value to the Jamaican economy and create wealth for its people, acting on the principles of pure investment and business professionalism. By May this year, the Department of Correctional Services, DCS, will begin training new recruits to address inadequate staffing at its facilities.
We are in the process of recruiting 300 officers, and that is to replace persons who have been severed from us. We are just actually awaiting some results for the fingerprints. We would have had most of the blood test results. Once we get that, it is for the department and the Office of the Services Commissions to sit and do the final selection.
The Commissioner of Corrections was speaking on Wednesday during a tour of the Tower Street Adult Correctional Center in Kingston. State Minister of National Security Pernell Charles Jr., who was also on the tour, said the rehabilitation of inmates was a major priority for government. During a feedback session with correctional officers, he said plans were afoot to position the DCS as part of the growth agenda.
And so we are talking about ways to make our institutions self-sufficient. We are speaking about mechanisms that can be implemented here to make you have the facilities to do cultivation of colorloo, of eggs, of things that will have multiple impacts of reducing the cost, giving us more revenue to divert to the things that you're speaking about.
The Ministry of Education's National Standards Curriculum is still on track to be officially rolled out this September. The curriculum has been completely revised with customized components such as the 3 pathways to education at the secondary level. A pilot has been in place in some schools for the past 2 years. Deputy Chief Education Officer in the Curriculum and Support Services Unit at the Ministry, Lena Buckle-Scott, shared how the implementation will work at a JIS think tank on Wednesday.
Full implementation on a phased basis. We will commence with grades 1, 4, 7, 8, and 9 in September 2016. In September 2017, grades 2, 3, 5, and 6. Our teachers will be fully supported to implement the National Standards Curriculum.
She said some educators had already been trained, with other training to take place soon. Additionally, teacher training institutions will be adjusting their programs to prepare upcoming teachers for the needs of the new curriculum. The Education Ministry says $3.5 million has so far been committed to begin improvement works at the Padmore Primary School in Red Hill, St. Andrew. The money is to cover the first phase of major infrastructural upgrades to ensure the school can stay open. Padmore Primary, which was once considered for closure due to its small population, is now thriving academically and seeing increased numbers. Education Minister Senator Ruel Reid and other government officials toured the school on Thursday and committed the ministry's support for the institution.
We have committed to improve their bathroom facilities. They have asked for a computer room, which could also be used as a library. And so those are some of the initial things we want to look at. We want to see how we can assist in paving the schoolyard, do some upgrading for their fields.
Minister Reid has also pledged to return to the school on a regular basis to check on the progress of its transformation. And finally, Jamaica's progress towards ending AIDS as a public health threat has been lauded by UNAIDS. The recognition was made during a recent visit by the United Nations Secretary General's Special Envoy for AIDS in the Caribbean, Dr. John Edward Green, and Dr. Cesar Nunez. The two were here on April 4 and 5.
We've been pleased to follow up on the data that Jamaica has reported so far, impressive advancements in the reduction of new infections. From 2000 till now, you've halved the number of new infections. And also from the same year, you have come from 10% transmission of mother to child to 2%, which is almost getting there.
Dr. Green meanwhile highlighted the need for consensus on accelerating the response to HIV/AIDS as part of the 2030 development goals.
Secondly, we are making demands for the elimination of what we call an insidious classification of the Caribbean, and in Jamaica in particular, as a high-income country. And therefore, with that classification, it means that Jamaica is not eligible for concessional funding and support.
That issue is expected to be raised at the UN high-level meeting on ending AIDS scheduled for June 8 to 10 in New York. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Carrie Ann Smith. Thanks for watching.